I'm Tyler Johnston with Johnston Realty.
And I'm Brandi Sorensen with Johnston Realty, and this is your market update for Natrona County for July 14th.
14th. July is just kind of flying right by.
Flies right by, dang it.
But so far, there are 157 homes pending in Natrona County.
Yes, and 240 active listings. And then we have 50 that have been sold this month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then active days on market for those sold are 62 days. So that's getting a little longer for Natrona County.
Yeah. So they're going on, well, they're going under contract
within 30 days.
Within 30 days, if not sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I feel like in Casper, that's a little bit more
it's not
typical than, depending on the home and the price.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because again, it's average.
Mm-hmm.
And the average, if something has to be financed, is 30 to 45 days. And then, so I think that's a totally great number. It's not, things are flying off the market. There are, I'm sure, certain price points or certain homes or certain areas, but
for sure.
But in general, there are some that stay on the market long enough for people to look at, but also not on too long where you're not able to sell or whatever. So
that's kind of what it seems. I can't remember. Somebody was telling me recently about a home, and I don't know what the specifics were, but it had been listed, gone under, came back on 4 different times within 2 or 3 weeks, short periods of times. So I don't know, and I would. They weren't sure for what all caused
each reason.
Them. Yeah, because did somebody not deliver their earnest money? Did they do inspect?
Yeah,
they didn't know. But she said, it was 4 times within a very short period of time. It was just gone. Then it was back. Then it was gone again. I was like, God, it's crazy.
I think I see that a lot. It depends. I don't know the house or anything, but sometimes I see that when it's a really, and you wouldn't think this, but a really desirable home or location or anything, and people throw an offer, but they weren't really already prepared. They didn't have the pre-approval. They didn't have it, and then it's like, oh, that's not gonna work. It's interesting sometimes when you see that.
A little bit of buyer's regret.
Yeah.
That's what when I present an offer to my sellers, or even if I guess it's when I'm writing it up for a buyer. The buyers, the worst that they can say is no. I'm like, no. The worst they can say is yes, because now you're under contract, and now you got to buy the home and do all the things. And they're like, oh, okay. And I had that yesterday. I was talking to somebody who was thinking about listing, and their concern was, how long is it going to take? Because we really don't want to move until next year, but we're trying to allow for
enough time
to list it and for it to get sold. I said, okay, I totally understand what you're saying. I said, but let me ask you this. If we list the home when you want to in November, because they were thinking about leaving May-ish, May, June, I was like, what are you going to do if it sells in the first week and they want to close within 30 days? Do you have an option? Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
If you're not planning to move until May and it sells fast.
Right. Timing is a very important and interesting thing. I think that's where you need to talk to a real estate agent, because it depends on the home, depends on the market. Natrona versus Converse County sometimes, or even just different places in Natrona County. So definitely that's smart that they're talking. Okay, this is when we want to move. As of right now, obviously, the market could be different, but when do you think we should start looking?
Yeah. And then
keep in touch, because as it changes, you can be like, oh, things are going a lot slower or whatever,
Yeah. But I don't think people often think about they always think, how long is it going to take? Okay, well, are you prepared?
The opposite.
For the opposite.
Sometimes, yeah.
And when I asked her that, she was like, well, I guess we could live with my grandparents, but I really wasn't planning on
Right.
doing that for that long. And I was like,
Yeah.
well,
Just think about these.
as you're making your plans, take it all into consideration.
Yeah. There's so much you can plan for, but then there's things that you can't plan for.
Absolutely.
Like I had a closing coming up and they're like, now are we sure? I'm like, no, because this hasn't happened, and sometimes, unfortunately, I said, I always have to tell you because I personally would rather know the possibilities rather than being promised, yep, we're closing on Tuesday at 2:00, and then suddenly
something happens.
appraiser, or whatever, something happens.
Yep.
And it does happen enough in real estate that last minute the lender needed another document because the second underwriter looked over it, and then that takes 2 days to get from there. Sometimes you just don't know until. So it's not over till the fat lady sings.
And it's just one of those, you just gotta roll with it.
You do. We do our best to really help you kind of foresee those circumstances, but that's something I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to promise you because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Right.
So I do always say, maybe, but also this could happen.
There's also this possibility.
Yeah.
It's always, it's like you said, the more information they've got up front, then at least it comes up, then you can be like, remember I told you?
Uh-huh.
And it always kind of, it still sucks when you have to delay. But at least there's that.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do. So I think you give them that a little bit up front, just in case it happens. It's a little bit easier to deal with.
Well, and then when they're asking for time off work to go buy a house, then they tell, I think it's going to be this time, but it might, shift or whatever. So we do our very best. And a lot of times, depending on the situation, we'll have a lot better idea of like, no, this is for sure. Yep. Or, everything is already lined up. We're good to go. So check that out. Every
time I think I've got a closing that's like going super smooth and everything's going to be just fine, something always goes wrong. It's always, there's a delay
somewhere. Some random thing that's never happened. That's the other thing in real estate. Nothing, there's always something new.
Yeah. There's always, it's an opportunity to learn something I didn't know yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. And I've only been in real estate this is my 5th year, but even, you've been in basically your whole life, not really, but you're with your dad and your mom. And then, and the people that I first started with, they all say like, oh, this is new. I'm like, you've been doing it 20 years,
I'm dealing with something right now that is the first time I have ever had to deal with it in 17 years. And I'm talking, well, have you done this before? And I was like, no. Nope. First time for everything. And it's happening now. That's not a good thing, but I was also just trying to, keep everybody updated in the office, what's going on. And Jody had just happened to call me and I was like, so I told you a little bit, but now this is where it's progressed to. And I was like, you chose a very interesting time to get started because I have never dealt with this in 17 years. And you're getting to watch me go through it your first month and a half of having a license.
Yeah. I actually really like that as, because I first started on a team and then now I'm my own agent, but I could go off all by myself and be the broker, be a broker or, be on any, but I actually really like the, being around other agents and also, cause you learn, like I'm learning from your experiences and vice versa. And, just when things come up so that then when they come up in my deals or whatever, then I'm like, oh yeah, this happened. And, or things to watch for, like when there was a hail, storm and everything. So I personally really like having the whole group, not just, even though I'm not a team, like we still have the brokerage that we,
everybody kind of knows what's going on and talk throughout. Jody, again, she called on something else. And I said, you click this button, click that button. And I was just walking through the store. She's like, what?
You're like,
She's
I've done it a time or two.
She's like, okay. I was like, no. I said, she's like, I would have fumbled with that for hours. I said, I have fumbled with that for hours.
How I know.
That's how I know this. And I'm going to save you the hours of fumbling through it.
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah,
it's just fun when you've got other people that you can
right. Or if something comes
talk
up,
about what's going on.
has anybody seen this? Or, have you worked with this person? Or who do you use for this?
Who do you recommend for septic? I asked you guys that in the Casper because I have never done a septic in Casper. So I reached out and asked everybody in the office. I was like, anybody used so-and-so? So, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. One other tip that I had for homeowners that we were discussing with a insurance adjuster was that metal roofs are great. They don't take the, they'll get hail pox, but they're not going to be leaking,
Right.
around here with our wind and our hail storms. But he did say that you really still have to, they're not maintenance free necessarily because they're all screwed in. Those screws can work their way out, especially if a little wind gets under and, moving a little bit. And so that can let moisture in. And B, it just then gets looser and looser and it can
pull all the way off.
When the next windstorm or
we
whatever.
don't have wind here. I don't know what you're talking about.
So if you do have a metal roof, make sure that you go and you check those screws. If you need to replace one, get it replaced, those kinds of things, or pay somebody. Don't fall off your roofs. That's the thing with a metal roof. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, that's something I won't do. I'll do a lot of stuff for people. I won't climb on a metal roof. No.
So if you need help or a professional, we can help you find somebody, but get them checked out.
Yeah, we know a guy.
Yeah.
Or two.
I actually joked that real estate is kind of like a mafia because I really feel like I got a guy.
Yeah.
Like that everybody, there's connections. Whether you're that, you have connections.
What I love too was, and I think I asked you, I was looking for a structural engineer contact. And I got a name and I got a number, followed immediately by the realtor. No personal experience with him yet.
Yeah.
Because
just in case, yeah.
We deal with it so much that we try to help each other out and give each other a heads up. Oh, they're really good. They may be busy, but they'll get back to you, that type of thing. Or there's always that caveat if you're giving out a blind number that you've never worked with before. Oh, I've never worked with him, but I've heard he does this.
Right. Yeah. The other thing I find really, it makes sense now. I never thought about it before I was a real estate agent, but the general homeowner, how many times are they dealing with a roofer?
Oh.
Once every, not very often. But an agent or property managers, they're dealing with all these different multiple times. And then a lot of times they're hearing back, if their buyer,
from other agents,
then
clients.
They'll call, and they'll say, oh, remember that toilet that we had to replace before we closed, this or that, or it's been working great, when you keep up with that. So really, real estate agents are good contacts for that.
We're a good Rolodex.
Yeah.
You may not know somebody, but we probably do. Or what I always tell people too is if I don't know, I know who to ask.
Exactly. Yeah.
That can give me a good contact.
Yeah. A lot of times I'll also just ask like a general contractor that I know, who do you like that does this? Or like sewer doctor, if he's doing inspections and I've had things, I'm like, what do you think about, so we definitely have connections and we can help you out.
Yeah.
So if you have any other questions, what maintenance or market questions, anything like that, we would love to hear them. So put them in the comments below. And anything else?
No, if you're interested or thinking about selling, definitely reach out to us. We'd be happy to give you a free price opinion on your home and kind of walk you through and let you know what the market is doing and what your options are.
Timing, market, a whole market
thing
is what we go for. So.